This thing on? What's going on, everyone? Bryce Gelman here, recapping what was a very pleasant Knicks win over the 76ers, a win in which we were able to see yet again 76ers fans hang their heads in shame and walk out of the arena early. I mean, what's better than that? What's better than that in sports? The Knicks actually, in this game, for the first time in what feels like all season, played a solid fourth quarter. Tom Thibodeau didn't have all the starters gassed by the time of the end of the game, and the Knicks won this game in convincing fashion. And it's a game in which there were a lot of things that went wrong for the Knicks, especially in that first half, specifically over the course of the first three quarters. Jalen Brunson, it was a non-factor, complete non-factor. He gets hurt first play of the second half. He ends up missing the first, 7 minutes left. He comes back in with 4:14 left in the third quarter. The Knicks played a good fourth quarter. They did what we haven't seen in what feels like the entire season. That has been the Knicks' Achilles heel. Defensively in the fourth quarter, having lapse after lapse after lapse. Did they tonight? They did not. They did not. And the Sixers, I understand you don't have Maxey. Great. Okay, fine. Joel Embiid, let's just say this, and it's going to take him some time to get, back into the flow of the game. Understandable. He's missed the first however many games of the season. He looks healthy. He was running up and down the court. He looked fine. I don't want to hear from Sixers fans who say that Joel Embiid wasn't himself. I mean, we saw it, obviously a hobbled Embiid in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs last year. That was not the same Embiid. Embiid played a lot better in the playoffs last year. Again, as I mentioned, this is a process. No pun intended. It takes a while for a player, even an MVP caliber player, to get back into the flow of the game. So if that's an excuse, fine, so be it. Either way, the Knicks came out, they handled business, and they were led by who's been their most solid player, most consistent player all season long, and that's no one other than OG Anunoby. Well, what else could you say about the guy? 6 dunks in this game, I believe. 6 dunks. He gave us a lot of what we experienced last year in the playoffs against the Sixers. Joel Embiid. I mean, listen, I think that with how poorly he played, it should not take away from this being a really good Knicks win. Without Tyrese Maxey, with Joel Embiid and Paul George, listen, Paul George played a really good game. 7 of 11 from 3. He started 5 of 6. Ended up missing his next 3 hit, whatever. Doesn't matter. The Knicks won this game, and I don't want to sit here, and there are going to be people out there who say that, the Knicks could have won this game by 30. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe the Knicks could have won this game by more, but when you look at the offensive output that they got from Jalen Brunson, when you look at the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns started off the game extremely hot, hit his first 2 threes, didn't make one the rest of the game. The Knicks didn't get what they normally get offensively from their top 2 guys. They still win this game, 111 to 99. And we got a comment. Our first of the live stream from my good friend Casey. Casey says, you talk about Bridges. My take is we may not find out if this trade is worth it until they ultimately play the Celtics in the playoffs and see if he can help stop them. I think it's a good point. It's a good point. Not like anything matters in the regular season anyway. Obviously, you want to be a top 3, top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference for the Knicks with who they have, their starting lineup. You want to be the 2nd seed, if not the 1st seed. You look at how good Cleveland is. You look at how good Boston is, and we all know how good Boston is. They won the championship. They're favored to win the championship again. The Knicks don't have an easy task whatsoever in the Eastern Conference. Casey also says, how do you feel about his lack of usage? I wouldn't say it's a lack of usage. I just think he doesn't have it going from deep. The Knicks ran their offense through Mikal Bridges plenty tonight. How many times was he one-on-one with a guy on the block? With his post fade, his patented post fade, he's really good in the mid-range. He's money in the mid-range. Offensively, like his 3, as I'm sweating my already 2 seconds into this. Give me a second here. Whatever, screw it. Bridges, I think once the 3 begins to fall, that you'll start to see more and more offense run through him. Jalen Brunson did not have it offensively, specifically in that first half of the game. And what did you see? Normally, Jalen Brunson takes 15 shots in a game like that. He didn't force anything. The shots just weren't falling. And as a shooter, you're going to continue to shoot. You wouldn't ask any of your best players on any team, specifically Jalen Brunson. We know what he's capable of. One shot could change it for him. You're not going to ask him to stop shooting. And he didn't. But he was able to find the open man. At some point during this game, I felt like Brunson was a non-factor. I felt like he was an absolute zero on both ends of the court. Because when Brunson's shot's not falling and he is kind of forcing it, and especially when the shot is not going in, he's not able to draw the double team. He's not able to collapse and corral the entire defense and find the open man as well as he would be able to if the shot was actually falling. And defensively, we know what Jalen Brunson is. He's a good team defender. He's usually in the right spot. He's got a lot of basketball IQ. He could draw a charge better than most players in the NBA. He's still an undersized 6'1" guard, whatever he is, who can't guard most players in the NBA one-on-one. That's just the reality, right? Whatever. I think I'm trying to focus on the positives here in this game. And another thing that I really enjoyed watching, Tom Thibodeau not absolutely tire out every single one of his players. Matt Ryan got some first quarter minutes, which I don't think anyone was expecting. I think Tom Thibodeau, he may have fell victim to the bullying of every fan and their mother saying that the Knicks are playing their starters way too much. Matt Ryan checks into the game. I thought I was seeing a ghost. I mean, Matt Ryan, first quarter minutes. When you look at the minutes for this team, yes, the top six guys still played the most amount of minutes. But the fact that they were able to get 10 minutes from Jericho Sims, which is about the norm from what we've been seeing from him. They got 9 minutes from Cameron Payne and 9 minutes from Matt Ryan. I tweeted this earlier on in the day. I said, how could not playing these guys, how could playing these guys and just accepting the inevitable terrible minutes they give you be worse than your best players not being able to perform over crunch time because they were too gassed? And we saw this firsthand tonight, where it's not like the bench played an exorbitant amount of minutes, right? You still got 26 minutes out of Deuce McBride. That's also been somewhat of the norm. Deuce has been the sixth man in the rotation. After that, it's been sporadic throughout the rest of the lineup. But the fact that you were able to get 27 or whatever, 28 minutes out of those bottom three guys, terrific. Terrific. That's all you need. That's all you need. And Brunson, in this game, still ends up playing 35 minutes, but he missed 8 minutes in that third quarter that he would have played. He comes back in. He's not completely gassed for the fourth quarter. He has probably his best fourth quarter of the entire in an important game. Like, how many times have we seen this Knicks team implode over the fourth quarter this year? Cavs game, Rockets game, I could go on and on. Tonight, they won a game in the fourth quarter. That is the first time you could say this all season long. The games in which they have won, they have led for the majority of the game. Tonight, hopefully they turn the page. And not only in the fourth quarter performance, but also defensively. Joel Embiid, not his usual self. He's going to get back into the flow in the game. He's going to be fine. The Sixers did not get what they normally would get out of Joel Embiid. But it's not only just because he's not fully into the flow of the game. You have to give credit to the Knicks, who doubled extremely well against Joel Embiid. Guys like Bridges, guys like Anunoby. Never allowing Embiid to be one-on-one down low. He drew his usual BS fouls. No one likes the way in which he plays the game. I compared him to your average soccer player in Europe who flops, who cries, who bitches and moans. That's who Joel Embiid is. We saw a lot of that tonight. He was not fully able to capitalize on that. He wasn't. So the Knicks won this game, and there shouldn't really be any excuses from Sixers fans, even though there will be. Oh, Maxey didn't play, whatever. I don't care. You put Maxey in this game, I still think the Knicks win. I still think the Knicks win this game. Jared McCain, by the way, really, really good player. Really good player. He was the Sixers' best player tonight besides Paul George. 23 points in 30 minutes. As much as people out there like to roast him for his TikToks and painting of the nails and whatever, yada, 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 he's a really good basketball player. The Sixers got a steal with Jared McCain. he will become a very valuable piece for this team. I mean, when you're giving Gershon Yabusele 19 minutes of this game, who the hell is Jeff Dowdy? Who are these people? This team has no depth. No depth. Eric Gordon's not playing minutes. They have Reggie Jackson on the bench. Who are these guys that are playing? As many moves that Nick Nurse, that Daryl Morey made it in the offseason, you think that they'd have better depth. You think that they'd have some guys better than the one guy they drafted. It's terrific. It's amazing. As someone who despises that team, the fact that they're going to have to rely so heavily on their top two guys, the top two guys who just historically don't play more than 55 games in a season. It would be a miracle if both those guys were able to play over 50 games in the season. MB won't do it because he won't play the back-to-backs. Paul George did it Paul George will be able to do it. Different player. He gets hurt when it matters the most, though. But either way, I think that there's a lot of positive takeaways for this game. Towns again got into foul trouble. He had 3 fouls with 2.5 minutes to go in the first half, and I mean that's just going to be more of the same. Each game and each contest the Knicks play, Karl-Anthony Towns needs to stay out of foul trouble. He is so integral to the success of this team. He didn't play a perfect game tonight. He was very good down the stretch. And the behind-the-back pass to Mikal Bridges, that was beautiful. He is so versatile offensively. He is so talented. Defensively is where you see, the drop-off in his game. I thought he played extremely well defensively tonight. He contested a few shots at the rim, which, if you missed it, there was this whole thing about Karl-Anthony Towns and opponents being 31 for 35 in the restricted area against him, which is not good. And I don't necessarily know how true it is because there are a bunch of clips that people put out there kind of rebuking that. But either way, Karl-Anthony Towns, you understand why the Timberwolves traded for Rudy Gobert and gave up a king's ransom for him. Because they didn't trust Karl-Anthony Towns as a standalone 5 in the defense. If this cannot be the final solution. It can't. I didn't just say that. This cannot be the end goal for the Knicks. I really believe that when Mitchell Robinson comes back, we will see Mitch at the 5 in the starting lineup and Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4. How they finish the game is a completely different story, but I think that's how they will start it. But man, Cat, all around, really good game. Anunoby, best player on the Knicks all night. He is just unbelievable on both sides of the ball. What would this team do without highest scorer, plays the most minutes, 41 minutes. I don't believe he sat the entire first quarter. It seemed like he rarely came out. He is unbelievable. I don't care how good R.J. Barrett is playing. I don't care how good Emmanuel Quickly is playing. OG Anunoby was obviously the right move to make that. And when you look at what the Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges, what the Knicks gave up for Karl-Anthony Towns, feels like they rarely gave up anything. They barely gave up anything in the OG Anunoby trade. They weren't re-signing Emmanuel Quickly. R.J. Barrett was never going to be the player that he could be elsewhere because there weren't 2 balls on the court at once. R.J. needed the ball. If he didn't have the ball in his hands for the majority of the game, he barely played defense, he barely cut, he barely did anything else. OG Anunoby, what he offers you when he doesn't have the ball, matters so much more than anything else offensively. He's such a good cutter. 6 dunks tonight. That's a byproduct of him cutting to the basket at the right time. He fits this offense so well. With Cat's ability to pass the ball, Brunson's playmaking ability, it is very easy for OG Anunoby to find his groove in this offense without really touching the ball. Keep in mind, he's shooting lights out from 3. He has become such a solid offensive player for this team. And I don't think that should be overlooked. Of course, he's the better defensive player. He might be the best wing defender in the NBA. But offensively, what he is giving you is very valuable. It's extremely valuable. He should be your favorite player on this team. He should. Night in and night out, he gives you exactly what you need. If his shot isn't falling, you know he is going to bring it defensively. If his shot is falling, he's going to bring it defensively anyway. He's still going to cut to the basket. He's still going to score easy buckets because he's able to get open. And guys are able to find him. You can't say enough about OG Anunoby. I mean, he's just unbelievable. He really is. He might be the next second best player on this team. As good as Cat is offensively, and I'm sweating. This is what happens in live production. By the way, this is going to be the norm going forward. When the Knicks play Tuesday nights, I'll be doing a reaction. Maybe not if they're on the West Coast. I work Monday, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, whatever. Friday nights, maybe, whatever. We're going to figure it out. We're going to be doing more of these going forward, some pregame stuff as well. Who cares about the Emirates Cup? I think this is an important game nonetheless, considering the fact that it's Knicks, Sixers, first time these teams are playing since last year in the playoffs. Big task at hand, says Knicks Pride. Yeah, baby. Listen, there's no better feeling than watching your team destroy a Philly team and watching every single one of those Sixers fans with their tail between their legs walk out of their own building as you hear "Let's Go Knicks" chants in the background. There's no better feeling. No better feeling. I hate Philly teams. No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to go as far to say that. I said this on my Giants podcast, One Giant Step, and I got a crazy reaction from my co-host, Sean Morash. I think I hate Philly teams more than I love my New York teams. That might be a stretch. I won't go as far to say that, but I hate Philly teams, man. I freaking hate them. There's no better feeling. No better feeling. So this is something that I think the Knicks could take a positive from this game, is the fact that they actually went out and played a solid fourth quarter. As I just mentioned, the Knicks in the past have not been able to win a game in the fourth quarter. In fact, every close game that they have played this season thus far, they lost in the fourth quarter. The Rockets game was winnable. The Cavs game was winnable. How many other games we could talk about here? The Hawks game was winnable. All of these games, fourth quarter implosions. Pacers game, we saw the exact opposite tonight. And I think out of everything, it's mainly a byproduct of the starters not being gassed. It was because you were able to get Matt Ryan. Even though he gave you nothing, you got him minutes in the first quarter. These guys just need a rest. Not all these guys are Josh Hart, who could average 46 minutes over the course of a 6-game playoff series. Not everyone is like that. This team could be really good if they're able to find minutes elsewhere. Campaign sucks. I never understood the hype behind Campaign. I hated him when you played him. I mean, he had that one really good game. I forgot. I think it was game 3 against the Knicks, against the Sixers, against the Knicks, for the Sixers last year, when he hit like 5 threes. I don't know if you remember that. I've hated him facing him. Now I hate him even more on my team. What does Campaign give you that Tyler Kolek that Kolek can't give you? What can Kolek? I don't understand. I don't get it. I understand, and here's like the flip side argument to it. Tom Thibodeau coach team. You have to understand the cards that you're dealt. You have to understand the coach that you're dealing with. How long it took him to give Deuce McBride a lot of minutes? How long? Like, we all knew Deuce McBride had it in him. Whenever he came in, he gave it his all. He said it in interviews. You never know what's going to happen. Whenever you get minutes with Tom Thibodeau, you have to bring it, and he always did. And then he was sent down to the G League for a couple games, put up 40 points. We knew who Deuce McBride was. It just took a trade for OG Anunoby giving up the Knicks' entire depth for Deuce McBride to come in and start playing big minutes. I just don't understand why that has to be the case here with a guy like Kolek, with a guy like Pacome Dadia. You need wing depth. What's the downside to playing him? And now you're seriously going to play Matt Ryan over him? Give me a break. Give me a break. Big Tassadan says, LO, I told my boy that the 70s. I hate them. I hate them so much. He also says, talk that talk. We have to play the bench. Campaign sucks. He's terrible. He's awful. He's terrible. He's not a good basketball player. Like, what did he give you? He's not a great facilitator. Offensively, he chucks shots. At least Tyler Kolek, you know when you put him in there, he's going to get 3 or 4 assists. He's going to move the ball. He's going to find the open man. I understand the need for Tom Thibodeau to play a veteran-like presence. Tyler Kolek at 23 or 24, however old he is, playing 5 years in college basketball, is as close to a veteran as a rookie will ever get. I understand it wasn't the deepest draft class. I understand that the guys the Knicks took in the first round there might have went in the second round in a deeper class. That doesn't mean they don't deserve to play. Doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to play. That was my one big issue with tonight's game is that those two guys didn't get more minutes. They didn't play at all. They didn't play at all. And it would be interesting to hear what Tom Thibodeau has to say about that if he's asked about it. We know how stubborn Tom Thibodeau is with his rotations, with his minutes allocation. It's been like the NBA's longest running joke. You know, this stuff like Tom Thibodeau plays all of his starters so much, and now you get a lot of media members, you get a lot of fans kind of poking fun at that. I don't know. I think that a lot of it's overblown. We saw what happened in 2011 or 2012 with Derrick Rose's injury, with him playing meaningless minutes. We saw what happened with Julius Randle playing meaningless minutes in that Heat game on January 27th last year. My other issue with Tom Thibodeau is that he doesn't play the rookies. He's not going to play these guys. And I've heard the excuses like if Tom really thought that they were good enough to play, then he would play them. Do you really think he thinks he could have gotten good minutes from Matt Ryan tonight? Come on. It's good that he played at all. You got to give your best players a breather. You got to give them a rest. I said again, I said this earlier, but I tweeted this earlier on in the day. And if you want to give me a follow at Bryce Gelman, you're probably seeing this on Twitter. No one's watching this on YouTube, I assume. But I said, what is the downside to accepting the negative of those minutes that you give the bench? Fine, they give you a -5, -10, plus minus, whatever. But then you're not blowing leads in the fourth quarter. The Knicks last year dominated teams in the fourth quarter. That is where they made their bread and butter. This year, it's been the complete opposite. It's because the starters are gassed. Simply put, because the starters have been gassed. And you want to know what happened in this game? Starters weren't gassed. And they won the game in the fourth quarter. They played good defense. They switched correctly. They doubled when they needed to double. They played great help defense. Mikal Bridges finally looked like the player that the Knicks traded for. Albeit not from 3, but on the defensive end. The Knicks won a game they should have won. The Knicks won a game they could have won by 30 points if Jalen Brunson actually did something. If the Knicks didn't end the first half so poorly. So a lot of things went wrong in this game. Bottom line is the Knicks should have won the game. They did win the game. Jalen Brunson, listen, he left a lot to be desired tonight. He ended up picking it up in the fourth quarter, but it was kind of too little too late. He didn't win the game for the Knicks. That's for sure. The defense did. OG Anunoby did. Either way, I think it's a really positive performance down the stretch. And let's see the Knicks build on this. And the other thing I want to say, considering the fact that this is the first of a back-to-back, I think it's the first Knicks back-to-back this year, I hope that's not the reason why Matt Ryan played first quarter minutes. Like, this should become the norm going forward, not just in the back-to-backs. In every single game, Tom Thibodeau needs to make more of an effort to get the bench in the game. I understand there's not much depth on this team. And I understand Precious Achiuwa is hurt, but when Precious comes back, what is he going to be playing 5-10 minutes more than Jericho Sims has been playing? You might be able to play him you can't play him at the 3. There's no power forward. What are you going to play Josh Hart at the 4? No. Precious is going to be the 4. I'd like to see him at the 5 in some of these lineups, maybe next to Cat. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him when he returns from injury. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilize Mitchell Robinson. I just don't see, realistically, how that's going to change the lack of depth that the Knicks have in the wings. They need to get Pacome Dadier going. He's one of the biggest X factors on this team. More than Mitchell Robinson. More than Bryce Achua. All right, that'll do it for my little post game here. Listen, I'm going to be doing more of these in the future, I promise. I enjoyed this. Thank you for the 2 people who commented. Hopefully in the future we can get more engagement and interaction. I think I'm shadow banned from Elon. I don't know. I don't get it. I got like 0 viewers on my last stream. Whatever. Listen, I'm going to do this no matter who listens, who watches. I appreciate everyone who did tonight. Big Knicks win. Hopefully they can take positives from it, build on it. One giant step. Sean Morash and myself coming out tomorrow morning reacting to Joe Shane had some comments. He spoke about Daniel Jones. He spoke about the 2-8 season. We're going to be reacting to that and more tomorrow morning, wherever you get your podcast with myself and Sean Morash on One Giant Step. But until tomorrow, until later on this week when I talk more Knicks and whatever else I want to talk about, I'm Bryce Gellman, and thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight.